It's deja vu at gymnastics. Olympic all-around champion Nastia Lukin is back on the competition floor for the first time in almost 3 years. It's been nearly a full year recovery for 2010 national champion Rebecca Bross, knocked out by a horrific knee injury last August. Her Olympic quest restarts here.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen.
And Chellsie Memmel, a silver medal teammate of Lukin's in Beijing, still feels there's unfinished business to tend to. Those are the veterans, but what about the new kids on the block? Like Gabrielle Douglas, virtually unknown till last year. Could a trip to London be in her future? Even current world champion Jordyn Wieber can't assume she's a lock for London in gymnastics. It's never a case of what you've done or won in the past. It's all about the now. Now is the time for the athletes to take center stage for their Olympic audition before this woman, Marta Karolyi. Who will get a call back? Who will get one of only 5 Olympic spots available? The road to London begins here in Chicago, and it starts right now. Welcome to the 2012 Secret U.S. Classic, the final qualifying event for the Visa National Championships coming up in June. We are inside the UIC Pavilion in Chicago, Illinois, for the first stop of 3 events that will lead up to the London Olympic Games this summer, just 2 months away. Hello, everybody. I am Tim Daggett, and I am joined today with Amanda Borden, Olympic gold medalist yourself here. Amanda, great to have you.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Well, great. This really is step 1 in the Olympic qualifying process, step 1 of 3. And in just over 1 month, the Olympic team will actually already be named. How critical is it for these girls to come out and really wow Marta Karolyi right out of the box?
Well, this is the first step, but it's an extremely important one because every athlete, whether you're a newcomer or a veteran, is here to prove one thing, and that's that you deserve a spot on this year's Olympic team.
And you know, after the athletes have gone through this whole thing, like this young lady right here, Nastia Lukin, oftentimes they say, you know what? The Olympic trials process, it was actually worse, way worse than the Olympic Games themselves. You've been there. How do you deal with that pressure?
Well, I can very much relate to that because the Olympic trials is by far the most stressful part of my career. And walking into this arena, watching the warm-ups, watching them get ready and prepared, brought back those memories. My palms started sweating, and I remember the kind of pressure that are on the shoulders of these athletes. They've waited for years for this process to start, and it's finally here. The other thing is that Marta Karolyi is specifically watching who can handle the pressure when it counts most.
And that is the big question for this young lady right here, Gabby Douglas. No doubt about it, she has the ability to be on this Olympic team. She actually has the ability to not just be on an Olympic team, but to be a challenger for an Olympic all-around medal.
Well, you know, like you mentioned, she was a newcomer, but she has started to prove herself being a part of the World Championship team.
And this is Anna Lee. She trains actually with mom and dad, both Olympians in 1984 for China. She has done a tremendous job. She was actually a collegiate gymnast, got done with the sport, and decided that she wasn't done, that she was going to continue on.
Well, I had the privilege of watching her in the Pac-12 conference at UCLA, and it is amazing to me to see her actually continue to mature as an athlete. She said one of the best things about this process is that she still is learning new skills and is hoping to actually perform some of those skills in this competition. And Tim, what's so neat is that she's still doing all 4 events.
That's amazing. Actually, she was on the World Championship team in 2011 and was basically chosen for that spot to fill a weakness on the U.S. squad, the uneven bars. She got to Tokyo and had an abdominal pull that actually they figured out was not just a pull, but a slight tear, and was unable to compete at all over in Tokyo, but was there if they absolutely needed her in the end.
Now on ball for Denton, Abigail Millett. Now on uneven bars for
and you know, this is also a qualifying event. Anna Lee because of her World Championship status, she is already qualified for the Visa Nationals.
Well, this is one of her best events.
And really where she would punch her ticket. That's a new skill.
Oh. Wow, she was completely sideways as she came through.
And
looked like she had a chance to pull out the release move, but you could see she didn't have enough rotation, came almost straight down, just not able to hang on to that bar.
The first time that element, right immediately prior to the release skill where she fell, that's the first time that element has been done in women's gymnastics. A little bit of nerves, you know, right out of the box. She is first up.
Well, you know, everybody used to ask me, what event do you like starting on? You know, Tim, it doesn't matter. They're all hard to start on. You have so much adrenaline, hard to handle that pressure. And she knows this event is very important to Team USA.
And like I said, it is where, if she has a chance to make that Olympic team, it's because of the uneven bars. And that will not be a routine she'll be reminiscing about in the future. When you fall from the apparatus, it is a full point in deductions. Getting some coaching from mom and coach, Rujani. Kyla Ross over on the balance beam, and it is her first year eligible to compete as a senior gymnast. You have to be 16 in the year of the games to be eligible to compete at the games.
She had a very successful junior year here at the U.S. Classic. But like I mentioned, nothing like being in this senior competition.
And right there.
And right there.
Right off the top, you saw her.
Every event has its difficulties to start out on. This one, by far, the toughest. There's so many connections right there, right to her flight series. The event that you can see that added pressure makes you doubt your landings.
Exactly.
Holding back, not pulling up and finishing.
And that really is the whole deal. It's on balance beam. You cannot be afraid. It has to be attack mode, and you cannot doubt yourself. And she just looks a little bit cautious.
She has beautiful lines and elements. Had a couple of those balance checks on the landings.
And a little bit long there, too,
Little
as
hesitation.
well.
You know, I was asking some of the coaches, you know, what are they looking for? What do the judges need? And they said it's not just connected. It's rhythm, it's speed. Everything's got to flow at the rhythm they need. Finishing out, though, double tuck, great landing.
Great landing.
For her first senior competition to start out on the balance beam, you can see not quite what she wanted, but she stayed on the equipment.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's a nail biter. I mean, it is got to be one of the most horrific experiences of her life. I mean, it's terrible to say that, but that is what she's feeling. We're moving over to the vault. Sabrina Vega, who was a member of the 2011 gold medal team in Tokyo. So she is world champion for the rest of her life, wants to add the title of Olympian, and it all starts right here. And a very nice vault, but nicely done, but not difficult. Not what we will see from some of the top athletes. And
yeah.
she's actually capable of doing a harder vault than that.
To be honest, you know, she's a pretty powerful athlete. I was shocked. I was expecting the extra half twist there, at least a double full. I mean, that's almost standard at the world and Olympic level.
Getting ready next on the balance beam. She will only do one event today. This is Chellsie Memmel. And, you know, I have said this before, what a phenomenal athlete, but could very well be the most unlucky gymnast I have ever known. Remember her from Beijing, was a part of that silver medal winning team, standing next to Nastia Lukin. And they all have smiles on, but those girls went to Beijing for one thing and one thing only, and that was to win Olympic gold. They were favored by most people, and They had some errors, and the Chinese were just too prepared. Chellsie Memmel, once again at that competition, immediately prior to the event, she injured herself, was only able to contribute to the team on the uneven bars. And,
wow. You know, they've all been here before. They've come back. They've been out on the floor. But I'm telling you, the level of pressure that I have felt this weekend amongst the athletes and even the coaches has shown in the workouts. And there again, I mean, that's not normal for Chellsie. She's one of the most fearless competitors I've ever seen.
And this is just a disaster right here. I have seen Chellsie Memmel's gymnastics not go well because her body betrayed her, but I have never seen her fail under the pressure, and this looks like it is just a pressure situation that a little bit too much.
When we had a chance to talk to Chellsie, she just felt like she knows this is her only chance to continue to be a gymnast, and we both know that it does end, and once you totally finish, you never get back, and that is what's keeping her motivated, keeping her.
Yep, and that was close right there. His very tricky leap sequence, and this is it for Chellsie. She's only doing one event tonight, just the dismount remaining.
Finishing double pike.
Never in a million years would I have thought that that would have been the routine that we'd see from Chellsie here today.
And I can guarantee she was not expecting that.
Very difficult tumbling run here. This is a front somersault with a half twist.
And you can see, I mean, she lands and just that left foot pops right up, and there's just no chance. When the beam hits you versus you hitting the beam, you're off before you even know it.
Wow, that is a tough one right there, I'll tell you. She's thinking, you know what, I probably should have just petitioned to the Visa Championships and been a little 2 weeks more ready. Amanda Jetter from Cincinnati Gymnastics. You ever heard of that, Amanda? Oh, you see that foot stepping out of bounds. That is a 10th, at least for the step, and a 10th for going out of bounds. Well, certainly a good start for Amanda, but could have been better. A little bit shaky in spots.
Great to see her back on that event last year at this meet. She had that bad ankle injury, and that brings back memories right there. The hug coming off the podium, of course, from my coach, Mary Lee Tracy, and her daughter, Rachel Tracy.
We're moving over to the other side of the arena. This is Sarah Finnegan in her first year as a senior, and really has been getting a lot of talk and chat about Marta Caroli, who actually is really the head of the selection committee. She's the national team coordinator. Likes this young lady, likes her lines.
She has that world-class look, beautiful toe point extension, almost every skill she does. But walking into this world as a first-year senior is a lot of pressure. Handled it well there on her release move.
And really, we haven't seen anybody yet handle it completely.
Nice pike Jaeger.
Toe point reminds me of a gymnast that they trained, Courtney McCool. Little bit low on that landing.
And a little bit close to the bar. Looked like she held on and just kind of drugged the rotation a little bit. But so far, a pretty good start for such a rookie.
Now on balance beam for Vega,
So we are starting out in Chicago, Illinois. Some nervous moments, but we have much more at the Secret U.S. Classic.
The Secret U.S. Classic on Universal Sports is brought to you by USA Gymnastics, by Procter & Gamble, by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. And by Kellogg's, proud sponsor of USA Gymnastics and the U.S. Olympic team.
Welcome back to the Secret U.S. Classic. And at the World Championships, this young lady became the very best in the world. She won that title in Tokyo back in the fall of 2011. And I would have to say that if I was pinned down as to what the most impressive piece of gymnastics at that entire World Championships was for men and women, it would be this young lady on the vault. This is just jaw-dropping great. And right now, there is nobody in the world that can do this vault like she does it.
I never thought I would be saying somebody would be doing Yurchenko 2.5, 16 years ago. Wow.
Wow. Wow. And that was just fabulous. Incredible power. She did take a big step on that, a 3/10 step, but by my book, that step, 3/10 off, is all the judges should take.
Well, she gets incredible height off the table. Beautiful form.
Right down the middle.
Right down the middle, perfect.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's the most difficult vault being done today, and because she is a potential medalist at the Olympic Games, she will perform 2 vaults. Most of the athletes here today will do just 1. At the Olympics, you have to do 2 vaults to qualify into the finals, and then you have to do 2 vaults, obviously, to win a medal. These vaults have to be different as well. That one, she turned around onto the board, did a skill called a round off, and just jumped straight backwards. This one, she'll do that, but with an extra half turn onto the table. 16.1 from Maroney on her first vault. Very nicely done.
That one, both of those landings, blind landings, landing forward like that, they are hard to stick, but pretty small deductions. That one, of course, stepping backwards.
She actually was a little bit high on the table on that one. Didn't quite get the bounce that she's capable of, but that is an upgrade. She is already the world champion, and that is a much more difficult second vault than she needed to win that gold in Tokyo last fall. Moving over to one of the sensations of the U.S. national team, Gabby Douglas, on the uneven bars. And like Anna Lee, Gabby Douglas made that world championship team in a big way because of this one event, the uneven bars. She's world class here, made the finals at the World Championships, and this routine is actually much better and harder than she showed in Tokyo.
Well, she is so dynamic on this event. Tremendous height. Right here, huge to catch up in the pike position.
Beautiful.
My heart just starts beating.
And she'll do this combination. This is great. And watch, right transition to the low bar. Beautiful. There are few people that you can say if they just do their job, they are on the Olympic team. If she does her job,
wow,
she's going to London.
Well, that is a great start here. And you can see it on her face.
Coach Leanne Chow, coach of the great Olympic champion Shawn Johnson. Shawn is home, still not ready at this point in time. Is planning on competing in a couple of weeks at the U.S. National Championships, but the upstart, wow, great start. Our next athlete on the balance beam, Rebecca Bross, and what a few years this has been, and last year just a mind-blowing injury at the Visa National Championships. Just lands completely under-rotated and dislocates her kneecap, and Coach Valery Lukin right there. I don't know if he'd say it now, but I knew that she left the floor in a wheelchair at that point. That she would be here at this point. I think that there were few that would think that she could get back.
Yeah, I mean, that was absolutely heartbreaking, but she also found this kind of new fire to prove to everybody that she can come back. Only competing on 2 events here, of course, the balance beam, and we'll also see her on the uneven bars.
And those are the only 2 events that she'll compete at all. They're a big test for her. Handles it well. When she came back from the injury, she was still planning on doing at least 3 events. But she and her coach, Valery Lukin, have decided that her best shot to earn a ticket to London is as a modified specialist, doing only balance beam and uneven bars.
Well, Tim, we watched her in the practices, and she had some struggles on this event. You can see her doubting her landings a little bit. The biggest struggle of all, though, is going to be the dismount. Switch ring, difficult landing there. Anytime you take your eyes off the beam like that, you can't see it as you're landing. Hard to keep your balance.
And this is just a very nervy balance beam routine. And she is not inexperienced by any means, has competed in a couple of different world championships.
Well, you can see she just took a very deep breath right there. There's a lot of skills packed into it, but this is the hardest one of all. Finishing round off double Arabian.
Oh, jeez. And that was not even close. She has struggled with that, as you've said, Amanda, all week long here in Chicago. And actually, though, that was the worst landing I've seen her take.
Well, she just didn't get near enough height off the beam, number one, but the blind landing, very difficult.
And really nothing to say after that.
You can see just not enough off of the beam, and she can't see the floor till she actually hits it. So you can see she was still flipping, not expecting the ground to be there. And anytime you're landing forward and you're that short.
Well, you saw how she also came quite a bit to the left. That means that she kind of cheated the twist a little bit, started early, didn't get the same repulsion off of the beam. She lost some height, some rotation, and hence a minimum of a 1-point deduction. Next on floor exercise, maybe one of the toughest competitors you'll ever come across. This is Raisman, of course, teammate of Alicia Sacramone, who was a member of that 2008 Olympic team, and herself trying to make a comeback from a torn Achilles tendon.
Wow. I've seen her do that. I've never seen her stay in the bounce.
Crazy difficult.
Tim, she is so fun to watch. You mentioned that she's a fearless competitor, but she just gives it 110%, everything she has, and she always seems so happy, like she's having a great time out there.
And this first pass, she jam-packs more difficulty into this. When I first heard she was going to do all of these elements in one tumbling run, I was like, I don't think she can do it.
That's right.
There's no room.
Well, just alone, a double Arabian right to a layout front, very difficult blind landing. And is there enough room, Tim? She has plenty of room. I think we can squeeze one more in there.
And we will see Nastia Lukin in her comeback attempt when we come back to Chicago. At the top, we said that you got to impress right out of the blocks. And this number right there, a 15.7 for Gabby Douglas on the bars, is out of the park. That score for uneven bars equals what the world champion is getting right now. So that is huge. And the moment is almost upon us. Nastia Liukin, nearly 3 years since she has competed. Of course, the most decorated gymnast from the 2008 Olympic Games. The queen of gymnastics, the all-around champion. Fell just a little bit short on the balance beam. Had to settle for silver. And silver on the uneven bars, that is wildly contested even to this day. Many people feel she should have won that one. But I tell you, her first podium training here, her first turnout, we were sitting right here, it's about 10 feet away from her, and she looked as nervous as I have ever seen her, and she confirmed that afterwards. It's like, she shouldn't be that nervous, but you know, she is a champion, and when she puts her hands up like that to start her exercise, this is all business right here.
She said just stepping back out on this podium, she forgot. It felt like she forgot until she got through a couple turns.
Here we go. It's actually a great way for Nastia to start because she is just rock solid.
And she moves so fluidly throughout this entire routine. This is new, very difficult. Switch half right to an Onodi, doesn't stop there, connects it right into an immediate jump. She struggled on the connections in the workouts and even the warm-up. That was pretty solid. A little slow, though.
A little bit slow, but exactly where she wants to be. This is nice. Nice slow turn, and then really changes the pace there.
Tim, she looks solid. I know we mentioned she almost felt like she didn't know what she was doing, but I'll tell you what, that green flag went up, and this is who we're used to.
Really her biggest test, like her teammate Rebecca Bross, is going to come on the dismount. She's had some struggles with this in training, but we saw her do a couple of them this morning for the first time in Chicago, and they were great. Right here.
This is the test right here.
She'll do a round off and a back somersault with 2.5 twists.
All right.
No problem. That is what you call mission accomplished.
You know, she obviously knows how to handle pressure, being an Olympic champion, but to get back out here, add new moves in, like this, switch half, you see a small hesitation there, but no major wobble, directly connected right into the Onodi, perfect form.
Here, the dismount.
Finishing with that 2.5. See, just a little off center there, but she's only been doing these full sets for not very long, so.
And that is about as great as Nastia Liukin could have hoped for. That is the only event she will compete on. We'll see her at the Visa Championships, where she plans to expand to the uneven bars for gymnastics when we come back.
Well, 1-2's Maroney, number
She's
1.
winning, yeah.
It's
Vault, bars, beam. Bars.
she's at bars.
Yep, yep.
Oh,
Okay.
that's right.
So are we going to do standings, though, Alan? Are we doing standings? Okay. Okay. Okay.
Light was on, so I thought we were on. So I was like,
And Nastia Lukin, a 14.9 on the balance beam. You see that 8.9 execution. She lost 1.1, but there was no loss whatsoever in her quest to be a two-time Olympian. Standings after one rotation. McKayla Maroney leading the way with Gabby Douglas, Raisman, Nastia Lukin, and Kyla Ross finishing off the top 5. And I'll tell you, Amanda, we've seen a little bit of nerves at this point in time. Rebecca Bross and Anna Lee, but absolutely nothing from Nastia Lukin. How do you assess this?
Well, we talked about this is a completely different pressure than a lot of these athletes have ever felt. However, Nastia has been here before. She knows what it takes to handle the pressure. And like we said, it's been at every practice. It's been in the warm-ups, and now it's carrying into the competition. And we're seeing some of those nerves get to these athletes.
And I'll tell you, another athlete that was just unbelievable as we look at Nastia, she is done for the evening, was McKayla Maroney on her first event, the vault. Just unbelievably spectacular.
Well, no better place to start the competition than on her best event. She wowed the judges with 2 huge vaults, really kind of reminding everybody that she is a world champion on that event.
Gabby Douglas, of course, another incredible start for her, a 15.7 on the uneven bars. You got to remember that events like vaulting have the potential to score higher, and the uneven bars, if there's a place where Team USA struggles, it's the bars, and that 15.7 is so valuable for Team USA, so it's such a great position for Gabby to be in. Jordyn Wieber, it'll be our first look at her today, starting on the uneven bars, and really if there's a place where Jordyn isn't rock solid, it's the uneven bars, and she has struggled here in Chicago.
With that right there.
And that is a mistake right there.
Came up a little short. That was supposed to be a full twist. Good save, but she's starting to, you can see, have some more breaks there. She's got to get it together, hold it together.
Yeah, this is, she has really not looked anywhere near her best on the uneven bars. I talked with her coach, John Getter, and he said, we're not supposed to be ready at this point in time.
I was just going to say, for these athletes, this is a long haul. They have 3 competitions, this being the first, that they have to continue to prove themselves. She obviously will plan to be back in the all-around. That is one of her strengths.
And for Texas Dreams,
and that was a disappointment for the reigning world all-around champion, getting, I don't know if you could call it words of encouragement from Coach John Geddard. We'll just call it words. We'll be back in Chicago in a moment.
Now on floor exercise for Woga, Grace McLaughlin. Grace McLaughlin of Woga on floor exercise.
Well, not the way she wanted to start out her Olympic quest. Jordyn Wieber, a disappointing 14.25. You see that 8.15 execution. That means she lost nearly 2 points in deductions in that exercise, and really not a good start for Jordyn. She is one of the very few athletes, though, that a routine like this at the start of the qualifying process for the Olympic Games, that is not life or death for Jordyn.
Yeah, she's an extreme competitor, and she will bounce back very quickly from that.
2011 World Team member Sabrina Vega,
Now on uneven bars,
world champion,
Sabrina
part of that
Vega.
amazing team that had to deal with so many injuries. Alicia Sacramone going down right before the competition began, and a lot of young new kids like Sabrina, they just took it and ran and did a phenomenal job. Is really the table setter, and what a save.
She looked a little short on the first pirouette sequence she did, and then came up short there, but really turned, not only saved it, but directly connected into those release moves. Very important.
But like I keep saying, this was a young lady who was on that world team, and yes, she's good on bars, but it's a place where the USA is weak, and that's why Gabby Douglas' bar routine is such a huge plus. That right there, a little bit tentative. I'm amazed she didn't come off the bars, though.
It was a great save, but you know, she's been to a world championships, gives her some experience, but you can just see holding back, not being fully aggressive, pulling out of those pirouette moves, and not quite crisply cleaning the pirouette makes a big difference. And of course, those are not just deductions, but
This is Sarah Finnegan from Gage Gymnastics,
Now on balance beam
coached
for
by
Vega
Al
American,
Fong and
Sarah Finnegan.
Armini Barutien. They are no strangers to the Olympic floor. Taryn Humphrey, Courtney McCool, they're athletes. Taryn Humphrey actually is the athlete representative who's on the Olympic selection committee.
wow, beautiful.
Very nicely done. Maybe doesn't look all that difficult, but rest
Hey,
assured.
the simple full turn is difficult.
Wow, and that was close. Almost came off the beam.
Two back handsprings right into a 2-foot layout. She
Did
has
a nice
beautiful
job.
skills.
Nice job with that.
See that flexibility and extension through her legs really makes a difference on those leaps. For an aerial.
Whoa, she was
Wow.
way under rotated on that.
I'm starting to think there might be something wrong with the balance beam. People really doubting those landing positions. Solid there, though. Two back handsprings right to double pike.
And just okay. You know, a little tentative, and she knows it. Those judges will note it. And the person she wishes wouldn't would be Marta Caroli.
She's such a beautiful athlete, Tim, and she has a ton of potential.
Talking about potential, this young lady right here, Kyla Ross, she is on the Marta's list. You saw that 14.7 on the balance beam, a nice start for her. Also a little bit tentative on beam, but she has that international look, according to Marta Caroli. I'll tell you, one of the things she does so well, she has a great landing position. She really does, you know.
Every single landing was great today.
The last thing the judges see, too, that dismount, perfect stuck, upright chest on the landing. A good routine. You're looking at Ali Raisman next up on the vault. A good start on floor exercise, has one of the most difficult floor routines in the world, and this is one of those vaults that has that potential 16.5 start score. Huge. I think that's the best I've seen her do it. Right there.
Now on even bars for Zena the lead, Mackenzie.
Well, she is just packed with power, as you can see.
In the past, though, she hasn't really been all that comfortable with this vault, but I'll tell you, this one is definitive.
You can see she off to the side there a little bit. You could see her shoulders were closed on the table, kind of directed her to the side, but still a clean landing, did have that step. But you got to remember, they're just kind of the beginning process of cleaning all of these skills. So I know Allie spends a lot of time focusing on her form, her landings, and that's something she's going to really be detailed on in the next couple weeks leading up to the Visa Championships.
Gabby Douglas had that huge number on the uneven bars, and now really this is her first test because she is like a kid at a playground on the uneven bars. Balance beam is a place where last summer at the Visa Championships we saw her really somewhat self-destruct, and many people thought she took herself out of contention for the world team right at that point, but is really fabulous on this event as well.
Oh, come on.
And that right there, grabbing the beam.
Wow.
A huge, huge deduction. Big test here, back with a full.
You know, she had incredible rhythm on the connection. It looked like she was just right in that zone and then came up on that landing and just doubted herself. Now you can see her regrouping, commanding those arms right into the right position.
Yeah, because the acrobatic element looked fine. And then all of a sudden, she just didn't finish.
You know, this event is more a mental game than anything else. They do more numbers on this event. They train this event beyond what most people can imagine. And then comes competition. And something you've done all the time, it takes a millisecond of doubt. And boom, that's what happens. Beautiful switch ring there. I've seen a few of them all day. She not only hit 180, solid landing as well.
Dismount to a double pike right here. She's been a little short on this a couple of times in training. Pulls that around, and we'll just say she survived that one.
Well, the good news is that where the major wobble happened on her back handspring layout step up, that's a very simple move for Gabby. Something she can obviously fix very easily.
Let's take a look at this now. Like
she had a great connection right there. You can see that back hip is just open, and if she would have pulled right up and squared it down, she would have had a shot to save it, but instead she kind of picked that foot up, and there it went.
Move on over to the vault. This is Elizabeth Price from the Parquet Club in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Now on ball for Parquet.
And I told her coaches the other day that I saw her do the second best vault I've ever seen done. She also does that Aminar or 2.5 twist like we saw from Raisman or Maloney. Does it great though, huge power.
Wow. You can see a little off center, but there again, incredible height off the table. It just amazes me. A few years ago, we saw a few of these vaults. Now,
well, it's really how the USA won the World Championships. They dominated because of vaulting. And she's great on this, but this is not as good as she can do. She rushed it a little bit.
You can see, yeah, that shoulder angle basically kind of propels them to the side there. Tremendous power, though.
There you see Donna Strauss, Robin Netwall, two coaches at Parquet. They've had some Olympians themselves, Kristen Maloney, Hope Spivey. Anna Lee now, after that really rough start on the uneven bars. It's great to have a rough start and then go to beam, isn't it? What did that feel like?
Oh, let me tell you, anytime you start the meet with a rough event, it is very hard to regroup. The good news is the 4 years of her being a collegiate athlete, they competed every single weekend, and there's a tremendous amount of pressure when you're competing for your team all the time. So I've watched Anna Lee on this event. She knows how to handle the pressure.
We are still waiting for Gabby Douglas's score.
This is the worst part right there, waiting.
A 14.4 for Gabby Douglas, almost 2 points in execution deductions. The biggest part of it coming from grabbing the balance beam.
Now on ball for Capital, McKayla.
Full twisting back handspring. Solid landing. I mentioned when I had a chance to talk to Anna during a workout, she just was like talking to one of the younger gymnasts with her excitement level of adding new skills, and one of those on this event, she's hoping to dismount this routine with a double tuck. Solid flight series there.
So really, thus far, though, we have only seen Nastia Lukin on balance beam be rock solid. Everybody else has showed a little bit of tentativeness. This is a good exercise, but this, unfortunately, the balance beam is not where Anna Leigh punches her ticket to London. That comes on the uneven bars, and that opportunity is gone. Getting ready for that dismount that you talked about, Amanda. Never competed this before, right?
Never competed this before. Round off double tuck.
Come on now. Easy.
All right.
Big step backwards, but a good routine.
Smile on her face. What an accomplishment at her age to be continuing to add these skills in.
Take a look at the dismount here. She'll do a round off, turn her body around, and really gets great repulsion off the beam.
You can see legs were just a little tired. Got to get a few more numbers under her belt as she preps for the next two competitions.
Nastia Lukin, of course, her work done. And Allie Raisman, she is our current leader and rock solid so far at the U.S. Classic. So what title do you want me to highlight?
Whatever you want.
No, come on, really. What is, let's see. So, because Alicia now technically has the most medals, right?
World.
She has the most
Because she's
world.
an
Okay,
Olympic.
Right. Okay.
So Olympics is 7.
So what is, come on, give me your best title. What's your best title? What do you want me to say?
You know, I don't know if people understand.
Welcome back to the 2012 Secret U.S. Classic. A beautiful shot of Chicago and Navy Pier. Standings after rotation 2, leading the way, Raisman, followed by Gabby Douglas, Kyla Ross in third, and Sarah Finnegan having a great first time as a senior. We are honored and welcome 7-time Olympic medalist. Wow, that's impressive. Shannon Miller here.
Thank you, thank you.
Great to have you, Shannon. Why don't you give us your impression of what you're seeing on the floor? We see a little bit of nerves out there, some emotions. What do you see?
Well, this is a huge competition because obviously it's the last qualifier, and this really kind of means it's go time for all of these athletes. I think watching Nastia Lukin up on the balance beam today was huge. I think for 3 years we've been wondering, is she going to come back? Is she going to try it? And she's got one under her belt, so that's great. She's going to move on to national championships, I'm positive. And then I think for the other athletes that are here in the arena, it's all about making sure that they are showing what they can do for MARTA. And I think the athletes that we're really looking at are Kyla Ross, who is doing an amazing job. Gabby Douglas, she kind of runs hot and cold. So,
right. What did you think of her beam routine? She was great on bars.
Great on bars. I mean, she is just amazing. Flying swirl, as you know, but she's amazing on bars. But yeah, you get to balance beam, and she's had a lot of issues. I want American Cup Gabby Douglas. Yeah. American Cup Gabby Douglas could win the Olympics.
And who else? How about Maroney at this point in time? What do you think?
Well, I could just watch her vault all day long, every day. It's absolutely amazing, and I think she's got to have her spot on the team just for vault alone.
For that alone,
she
right?
sets us so apart from everyone else.
No question about it. We've seen some falters also. Anna Lee on the event where she could contribute most, the uneven bars.
Yep, and she missed, and that's not going to help her case for getting on the Olympic team. We need bar workers,
right.
And if you can show you can nail a bar set and have a decent start value, you're going to have a better look on the team.
But rock solid, I'll tell you. Raisman. Unbelievable, right?
Yeah. Well, you know,
it's like she took over Alicia's spot when Alicia went down.
That's exactly what happened. I think she could truly become the next leader of this team, and she's such an amazing young lady, and to watch her as an all-arounder is tremendous. And, you know, obviously she needs to work a little bit on uneven bars, but as an all-around athlete, she's the go-to girl because she is consistent.
Well, and of course, world champion Jordyn Wieber as well. Not the best start for her. She's only doing 2 events. What do you think?
She needs a rest. I think she needs a rest. She needs to just do 2 events tonight and really look towards nationals and Olympic trials because she's got a long road ahead. And if you think about Jordyn, she's got to compete all 4 events at every single competition. So where you might have a specialist that can have a little bit of a break, she doesn't get one.
And the one thing we've said about Jordyn is that she is the athlete that mistake will not affect. She will bounce back. Do you agree?
That's what I love about Jordyn. It doesn't matter what she does. She's going to always have some little issues, but she's going to keep fighting.
Well, thank you very much, Shannon. Great to have you. And when we come back, we will see once again the Rock so far. Our current leader, Raisman, on the uneven bars. Jesus. It's true. You should have whacked me. Whack me. Jump right in on me. Seriously. Vega's beam. Okay. And so she was. Okay. So far, balance beam has been dangerous territory at this U.S. Classic. Sabrina Vega now moves to the balance beam.
Well, Tim, it's always been the event that we described as the make it or break it event, but typically we don't see that happening with Team USA. This has been an unusual competition, but literally in the all-around, it could come down to the athlete that stays on and nails their routine.
Well, one thing Marta Caroli wants is she wants consistent athletes, and especially on the beam, and that right off the top. Some of these leaps, they don't look like an acrobatic skill like that. That leap is actually much more difficult than...
We've seen a lot of mistakes on the leaps and jumps, but so far it seems like the first 1 to 2 skills is where we're seeing the mistakes. And I remember being that athlete, you get up there and your heart is racing and you can't get your breath calmed, and it's hard to get in the zone because you're feeling so much pressure to prove you can be consistent. You can just see that element of doubt in almost every skill she's doing.
That was a nice sequence right there, but really the first half of this routine, just tons of little deductions. For someone like Sabrina Vega, it is all the audition process.
Yeah, Marta said this particular competition is like a dress rehearsal for the big show, but we all know every skill, every routine, every competition, even every workout matters at this point.
Once again, a balance check right there. Balance beam has been just brutal on the athletes today. A nice landing, but certainly nowhere near what she is capable of doing. And you see Marta and you see a little bit of a shake of the head. She is not happy with what she's seen so far on beam. I can guarantee you that.
Well, remembering that every score counts at the Olympics is a big reason to be worried about that kind of stuff. The 3 athletes you put up have got to be very consistent.
Fourth after 2 rotations, Sarah Finnegan. This is her first year as a senior. She had a good birthday. that means that she's eligible to compete in the Olympic Games. If you don't turn 16 the year of the Games, you don't get to go. And I'll tell you, this young lady right here is having a showcase of an event. Really, at this point, Nastia, Raisman, and Sarah Finnegan are the only ones coming out in this competition and looking like they've got the emotions in check.
Well, she had a beautiful floor routine, great tumbling. You saw those dance moves like you've mentioned. She has that look, and she's handling the pressure even more importantly. Watch this first pass, huge double Arabian in the pike position.
Yeah, this is, I mean, she is in the rafters right there.
Beautiful landing.
Really, she has done a tremendous job. There's been a lot of hype around her, and she has been living up to the bill. Over to the uneven bars, Raisman, our current leader after 2 events. Both scores comfortably in the 15s. But if there is a place, as we've said, that Allie struggles, it's definitely on the uneven bars. And if an Allie Raisman makes a team, that means that they need those extra bar workers. You see some form here.
Well, and she was supposed to connect those elements. But the big thing that gets her on this event, Tim, is that form. Almost every skill, you see that small leg separation right there.
Really doesn't have the toe point that the judges are looking for. It's just messy, a little bit messy, and they know it.
Finishing double front.
But for Allie, that's actually a good exercise. You know, she knows that she's not going to bring in the huge score. She just needs to get through the uneven bars.
And that she did.
Yes, she did. And we will be back in Chicago for the secret U.S. Classic.
Mackenzie Wofford of Zenith Elite on balance beam.
I got it. And it is all about the audition. We got a month long of competitions. This is the first leg of the Olympic trials process. And so far, Gabby's got one solid under her belt and one tentative. Steps out of bounds. she had a couple of little hiccups midway through, but I'll tell you, the last half of that was phenomenal.
Well, she opened with a strong pass and then came right back with that double Arabian, and you could see hopped out.
So this was an Arabian double front. She gets a hug from the coach. Let's look and see.
She has a great height there, a little bit over-rotated, hops forward. That's hard to see.
Yeah, very hard to see, but I did see the yellow flag go up, so in case the head judge overrules that, she'll get a 10th for the step and a 10th for out of bounds. And this is another big event for Kyla Ross. She also does that hugely difficult vault, the Aminar or the Yurchenko with 2.5 twists, and she has been good today, but not as great as she can be. She needs to knock this one out of the park.
You could see as she came onto the table, she was off center. And there again, a common mistake on this vault today, turning a little early off the table, and you could see she had to step completely off of the mat.
Yeah, she just looked not as crisp as she can look, especially on this vault. She's incredibly powerful.
She was actually off to the left right there, and of course turned a little bit early. You can see completely landed on the side, momentum going that direction. And you have to wonder, now that she's a contender, now that she's in the running, is some of that affecting her gymnastics?
Yeah, certainly, no question about it. You know, she's had this huge buildup. You know, she's been under the radar for so long, and now she is on the big stage. And, you know, she's certainly not crumbling, no question about that, but she is not doing what she's capable of doing. Sarah Finnegan, however, she is.
Well, you know, I can relate. In the 1992 Olympic trials, I was the rookie, and I was 15, and I didn't even really know what was going on. I went out there having fun and, you know, ended up doing a little bit better with that.
McKayla Maroney on the balance beam. Of course, we saw her be almost flawless on the vault. Gabby Douglas scored a 14.7 on the floor exercise. Sarah Finnegan, a 15.2. Huge number.
Oh no, that was actually her flight series element. She looked like she had a strong connection and then completely stopped right there, flick lay.
And then she went back and repeated. Very nice. Another one of those more difficult than it looks leaps, as is that one.
Beautiful. I can tell you that Marta is already planning how we're going to make sure that these athletes handle the pressure on this event. All of these girls have beautiful skills, lots of difficulty packed into these routines.
But bluntly, beam has not been good.
No.
You know, if there's an event where everything can go all wrong so quickly, it's balance beam right there, so easy. And just balance check, questions, doubts.
And she also got time, finishing double pike. I don't think I've ever seen so many mistakes on this event at the U.S. Classic.
And as we look at Marta, another beam routine that she will want to forget. But what she'll do is exactly the opposite. She will remind these athletes over and over again about their performance under pressure in this first leg of the Olympic process here. Anna Lee on the floor exercise.
Now floor exercise for Legacy Elite.
The fall on the uneven bars, and a good routine for her on balance beam, but certainly not great.
Well, this is the event she was most excited to get back out and compete and really put on a performance.
just completely off. Way under-rotated on that first acrobatic element, and huge deduction, and also a big point loss because she wasn't able to do the skill that she was supposed to. Wow.
Well, you know, I talked to her before the competition, and she said, you know, it is so hard to hang with the energy of these kids. And she mentioned this event was going to be tough.
Yeah. Only a full twist at the end. That.
Well, you know, on her beam dismount, it looked like her legs were giving out a little bit. You know, I think you try to train the same way you did when you were younger, but at her age, it's tough to do that.
Started off a little bit rough. Watch this combination tumbling pass. A 1.5 twist.
Yeah,
not
it came
enough.
right out to the side, and you could see just really crunched in on that round off. Wasn't going to be able to do anything with it, but then, of course, flew out of bounds at the same time, too.
There are just deductions all over that. Her dad right there, Liukin, one of the greatest tumblers that ever lived for China, of course, and Mom Wu Jiani. Really not a great day so far for Annalie. Our next athlete on the uneven bars, Amanda Jeter. And this really is a place where Amanda had thought she fit the bill also. Uneven bars, she takes a quick sip.
Well, she spent a lot of time training this event last year when she had an ankle injury.
Clean up some scores here. McKayla Maroney, a 13.85 on the balance beam. Not a big number, not a good number. So what's happening now is the gymnast immediately prior to Amanda, they have not been able to come together on the score. The judges have some sort of discrepancy, whether it be in the content of the exercise, how difficult the exercise was, or in the execution score, how many deductions there were in the routine. We are just waiting for them to finish up their work.
This is where that mental game comes into play. In fact, that's something I trained, was the mental aspect, because that's when you start overthinking.
So what would her coach, your coach, Mary Lee Tracy, how would you have prepared for this?
Well, I did a lot of what I would call like verbal routines. So I would be going through my routine using my verbal words and verbal cues, things that I trained in the gym, to keep my mind in the zone versus my mind wandering to all the what ifs. Because it's very common when you get in this situation, your nerves get the best of you. My coach used to say, you're gonna have butterflies. We gotta get them to fly in formation. The direction we need to go.
Wow.
And you can see right there, that look right there is pure focus. And partly saying, come on, judges, let's go.
Yeah, no, there's no question. Mary Lee Tracy. Done a tremendous job over many, many years. Dare I say decades? Will she be mad at me for that? Probably. Well, here we go.
Now on floor exercise.
Nice combination there.
Kennedy Baker.
Looking for handstands, though. Everything needs to finish right in the handstand. That one good.
A little close in on that catch.
Oh, and once again,
just didn't get a full push down on that bar on such an easy skill.
Huge deduction.
Finish it out, double front.
That was too bad because that was going great. A very nice exercise, you know, not incredibly difficult, but.
Then when you train, you'll get what you want to hit. When you train that it's connected, then you'll get it. But you don't train it, so you can expect it to be there, right?
I've heard those words before, and that's exactly the truth. You know, you've got to train what you want to compete in. When you're inconsistent in the gym, there's a chance you're going to be inconsistent in the competition. But the good news is, I know as an athlete, sometimes it was okay to make mistakes at this point in the season, because you will go home and you will train harder to make sure that does not happen.
So what Mary Lee is actually saying, though, is on that particular skill, at the end of the routine, she's tired, she's exhausted, and sometimes in training she probably doesn't push as hard as she could, hence the fall. Our next athlete on the balance beam, will she redeem herself? Jordyn Wieber had a disappointing start on the uneven bars. Not a disaster, but a 14.25, nowhere near the routine she was looking for. It's hard to be the world champion.
Well, you know, she's coming off the 2011 Worlds as the champion, and it brought back memories even watching Nastia. You know, when you have those credentials, everybody is watching for you, and you are expected, and sometimes that even adds to the pressure. Everybody's expecting her to get the job done, and of course that lady as well, and I think she doubted herself.
Yeah, she did.
Has to feel great about
She
her
did doubt herself, but not in the competition. When she raising that hand, she was rock solid. But I'll tell you, it's never felt better to be Nastia Lukin for Nastia Lukin than right now. Marta Caroli, the head of that selection committee, really the head coach of Team USA. You know, they call her coordinator, but the athletes gather just about monthly at the ranch in Texas, an Olympic training center now. They make the trek down there to Bella Caroli's ranch and Marta Caroli, and they just make the magic happen. And I'll tell you, there is no magic about it. It is daunting and just an unfathomable amount of work.
Well, you know, you mentioned it before. It doesn't matter what you've done. It's about the now, and it's about proving yourself here. It's about proving yourself at those camps. And even Nastia mentioned she has no advantage being an Olympic champion coming into this competition or into this Olympics. And just like that with Jordyn being a world champion, you still have to continue to prove yourself.
You do, but, you know, she did stumble a little bit on the uneven bars, but, you know, that is in no way going to jeopardize her chances for the Olympic Games in London. And this is really critical because we've seen athletes that Marta Caroli hoped she could count on this treacherous event, the balance beam. Jordyn had the rough start. Let's see how she deals here.
Wow.
Perfect.
She looks like she is ready to not just handle the pressure, but to deliver.
It's really difficult.
Right here. Standing full. Connected to that back handspring. There wasn't a wobble, but it was a slow connection.
And I'll tell you, you know, at the World Championship, she wasn't error-free. She struggled on bars like she did here today. Went up on balance beam and did a routine just like this. Just was rock solid. Finished on floor exercise and placed just a minuscule above Victoria Komova of Russia.
Little balance check there.
But really, this is a super solid exercise from Jordyn Wieber. Just the dismount.
2.5, little close to the end of the beam there, but great landing. And that's the first beam routine since Nastia that we have seen rock solid skills.
And that, a lot of stuff packed into that exercise, and Jordyn Wieber looked to stumble out of the gates, but when you're the world champion, you can put in routines like this. She is done for the night, but we have much more gymnastics still to come. Stay with us at the Secret U.S. Classic.
Secret Clinical Strength is a proud champion and supporter of fearless women everywhere who believe in pursuing their dreams.
Yep. Is she before? She will be first. And she was not supposed to do it though, right? So. She is. Yeah. What's that? No, I know that, yes. Okay. Okay.
Oh.
Oh.
What was that?
Just a timer, but.
She's jumping down.
Yeah. Yeah, because, yeah, definitely. And Gabby Douglas, who was not supposed to vault at the beginning of the competition, she said she was doing only 3 events. She warmed up, which was very surprising. And I'm wondering, Amanda, if it's because she felt like she didn't do and show all that she could, and she just decided at the last minute that maybe she should give it a shot. But I believe it looks like USA Gymnastics has said, you said no, and so it's no. And now Rebecca Bross. That really rough balance beam routine and the scary landing on the dismount, the Arabian double front. But once again, as we have said all night, one of the ways you punch your ticket to London is you're great on the uneven bars. And she is a world medalist on this event and has the potential to bring in a big score, but she's got to shake off what happened on beam because it was not good.
Well, she has looked very strong in the practices here on this event, but rebounding after a disaster like that is tough to do for anybody, especially when you know this event matters probably more than anything right now.
And you know, about 4 years ago, many thought that this girl had the opportunity to do the unthinkable. The team of Woga, the Larry Lukin's team, and Evgeny Marchenko have had the last 2 Olympic all-around champions. Carly Patterson in 2004, of course Nastia Lukin in 2008, and this young lady right here, many thought would follow in those 2's footsteps at the World Championships in 2009. She basically had a world title in her grasp, and on her last piece of gymnastics on floor exercise stumbled and had to settle for silver. The gold went to U.S. Olympic teammate Bridget Sloan, but really people thought that it was possible that Woga could have a three-peat in the Olympic all-around.
And of course, after the leg injury, it's just been about getting strong enough to be back on these 2 events, the uneven bars and balance beam, this one being the most important.
Yeah, bars is her ticket. And right here, one of her big tests, beautifully done.
Lots of combination work up here.
Just gotta stay on the bar right here. Very nice.
Beautiful combination. She's really coming out of those pirouetting skills and locking the position out, hitting the angles.
Sticks this landing, and do not count Rebecca Bross out.
Rebecca Bross on Woga on uneven bar.
She just did herself a big solid right there. Step on the landing. She can do that better. But I'll tell you, still a very nice exercise on the uneven bars. A critical one for Team USA, for Rebecca Bross. Do a little cleanup here. Jordyn Wieber scored a 15.0 on the balance beam. Awesome set. Highest score past Nastia. Our next competitor, also one of the toughest kids you'll come across, Raisman on balance beam.
Well, she is fun to watch on this event. In fact, you don't see too many people attack this event like she does. Start to finish, lots of power, very aggressive tumbling skills, leaps, and of course even just her dance movements. Tumbling series, incredible height. You can see her rotation completely all the way around when she lands.
So what MARTA has to do, and the selection committee, they have to come up with a team of 5 gymnasts, one less than has ever been, well, in modern times at the Olympic Games. And they've got to find 3 incredible workers on each event. And so far, this would be the 3rd balance beam routine, because we have seen 2 really good ones and a lot of shaky ones.
All that's left is the dismount. She does one of the toughest dismounts in the book, that round off double Arabian.
Very difficult.
Excellent.
Like a walk in the park. And that should be not just your leader, but I would say that she is going to be the 2012 U.S. Classic winner. We will be back for the final act of gymnastics here in Chicago.
Now on floor exercise for GK, Brandy J.
Okay. What's that? I don't know. Yeah. Well, where are we here? This is Brandy J. Where are we? So we're here. Oh geez. Where are we coming back with? Kyla Ross on bars. She's done. I think she went. What's that? I think she already went. Wow.
Brandy J of GK on floor exercise. And that was Casey Jo McGee on uneven bars. Now on balance beam for parquets, Elizabeth Price.
no smiles after the balance beam, but on the uneven bars, Rebecca Bross, a 15.3. That's the second best score on Team USA's weakest event at these championships. That is a big deal for this young lady and keeps her in contention, as her Olympic teammate, Nastia Lukin, also did a tremendous job. She will just touch bars, which means that she is able to be officially counted in this competition. It's actually an archaic rule, and I don't even know if it's a rule anymore, Amanda, but we'll let her do it. The athletes say they hate this, but a long time ago, when all of the athletes, when you were competing, or when I was competing, the athletes had to all do the all-around. That is not the case anymore, but you know, for Nastia, she did a great job here, but really what will make it possible for her is if she is able to get back to even remotely the shape she was on the uneven bars at the Olympic Games, and we saw pieces of that in training here. We didn't see her put it all together in any way.
Right, that's what she's hoping to do in a few weeks at the Visa Championships. Be able to put a full routine together in that competition to qualify her onto the Olympic trials, to hopefully be a specialist, not just on the balance beam, but also on the bars.
And I'll tell you, though, Team USA could really use her. Like I said, someone like an Raisman, for example, who looks to be right on track to be a member of that 2012 team. She is very weak on bars. Jordyn Wieber, it's not her best event. USA needs a specialist on bars, and that's where someone like Nastia, like Rebecca Bross, could fill the bill. And both of those athletes did themselves a solid. This young lady right here also has the potential, Kyla Ross, to be quite good on the uneven bars. She has been okay today, but how would you describe it?
Well, her day, you know, I think, like I said, I think that she's coming out knowing she's a contender. She has beautiful gymnastics, and I think getting out here at the U.S. Classic was really important for her to be a contender, to do all 4 events, and it's been an okay day, but nothing that she is capable of yet.
Right. A lot of flight on her bar routine, and she really does take her time, and nice transition from
very
low to high.
difficult.
Yeah.
Adding in that half twist. Great reach there on that Jaeger.
Excellent handstand position.
Almost every skill she does shows that beautiful line. Something very important in that side of the execution score. Finishing double layout. Beautiful landing. That's been the key for her on every single event. She has been rock solid on those landings.
And Kyla Ross, she does a very solid, saving her absolute best for last on the uneven bars in Chicago.
Now on balance beam for Capital, Mackenzie Brannon. Now on floor exercise for Denton, Abigail Millette.
Did Sarah Finnegan go?
Yeah, she went. I think so. Oh, I have no idea.
I never saw a score.
So, Alan, what are we doing? Okay. 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 Are we going to go to commercial and then? Okay. Kyla Ross got a 15.35. It's a big number, second highest. Yep. Okay, you're gonna have, okay. Great.
Now on the even bars for Wieber, Grace McLaughlin.
Come on, Grace. Come on, Grace. Come on.
Now on speed for Cincinnati, Amanda Jenner.
Kyla Ross waited till the last event to pull in a very big number, a 15.45. That is the second highest score to Gabby and a huge number for the uneven bars.
And that's what she's capable of. We didn't quite see that on the other events, but I think this was a great start for her.
And Sabrina Vega has been able to hang on, but also hasn't had the best of days here. She'll be finishing up on the floor exercise. But really, it is a month of gymnastics trials. That's what it comes down to. The Classic here, from here, she will, as well all the other athletes we've seen, they will move on to the Visa Nationals.
We talked about the pressure of all three of these competitions. Honestly, this one sometimes is the toughest. Getting out here and having that Olympic pressure on you and getting it started.
And I'll tell you, like Kyla Ross, Sabrina Vega, who had looked a little bit tentative all night long, she saves unquestionably her best routine for last. That was a huge exercise.
What a strong finish to this competition for both of the girls.
And I'll tell you, when you can finish up, wrap up this way, like Sabrina did as she gets a hug from Coach. We will talk with Nastia when we come back. Okay, all right. Okay.
Alan?
Okay. Okay.
The Secret U.S. Classic on Universal Sports is brought to you by USA Gymnastics, by Procter & Gamble, by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. And by Kellogg's, proud sponsor of USA Gymnastics and the U.S. Olympic team.
My earpiece? Do you mind coming on this side?
And the first leg of the U.S. Olympic trials in the book, the Secret U.S. Classic, coming out on top, Raisman with over a 60 point. That is a huge number. Kyla Ross having a good day. Kennedy Baker snuck in there. And in fourth, Sabrina Vega. The main story of the day, though, was Nastia Lukin in her almost 3 years since competition comeback. She was rock solid on beam. The only event that she did perform here today, but she was fabulous. And our Amanda Borden has Nastia on the floor.
Well, Nastia, I talked to you before the competition, and you said in the podium training it was like you had never done this before. You were so nervous, but that green flag went up, and that did not look like the case today.
Yeah, I definitely felt a lot more confident as soon as the green flag went up, and it was kind of like something snapped, and it was like the old Nastia for a second. And of course, there were things that I definitely want to improve upon, and my start value wasn't all there. And being a perfectionist, I definitely know that there's a lot to improve upon in the next few weeks.
Well, you had an incredible Olympic experience back in 2008. What is driving you to go after this again?
You know, I didn't really want to think what if I didn't try, and that was kind of something that was haunting me, like in my dreams. And so I felt like, you know, more than anything, I owed it just to myself to give it a shot. And, you know, whatever the outcome is, I'll definitely be upset if it doesn't, my dreams don't come true again. But, you know, you have to deal with what the circumstances are.
And how is it different? 4 years later, 4 years older, how's the journey different this time?
It's a little harder, especially taking some time off, but I finally feel like I'm getting back in the groove of things, and I'm feeling stronger and you know, have more endurance and really feeling more confident. And I think that was, this weekend was the first step to that, being back here on a podium and just competing for the first time in 3 years.
Well, congratulations and good luck to you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Nastia. As we said, the first one in the books, and this is the winner of the competition and possibly the most confident athlete out on the floor. And confidence and hit routines is Gymnastics 101, and Amanda is with Raisman.
Well, yeah, she does appear confident. are you nervous at all out there?
I wasn't really that nervous today. I mean, over the past couple days I was nervous, but then when I got out here and I just tried to have fun and do what I've been doing in training.
Well, you've said you've been waiting for this moment. What was it like?
It was really amazing. It was better than I thought it would be. I thought because it's an Olympic year I'd be more nervous, but I wasn't, and I'm just happy that all my hard work paid off.
Well, congratulations and thank you.
This has been the 2012 Secret U.S. Classic, the first test of 3 on the road to London. June and July bring the Visa Championships and the final trials for Amanda Borden. This is Tim Daggett saying so long from Chicago, Illinois, and the 2012 Secret U.S. Classic on Universal Sports.